Today, we want to talk with you about G Suite's communication strategy, and specifically what it means for these two products. So we'll be touching on three key topics. So first, what we've been up to with Chat and Gmail. Second, going into G Suite integrations for Hangouts Chat. And then finally, a little bit more detail on the integrations platform for Chat. So we're going to start by talking about Gmail, because you really can't talk about enterprise communications without starting with email. It's essentially been the de facto standard for workplace communication for the past couple of decades. And as we've thought about how to make Gmail a better enterprise communication tool, we spent a lot of time with customers and with users. And we keep coming back to the email lifecycle. However you cut it, there are really three key steps for a user to manage their email workflow. There's prioritization, because we all get inundated with a flood of email communication. So it's a question of how to decide what to read and what to do with it, how to triage. Second is communication, because we all need to write the right succinct response or new email to get people to take action in the workforce. And we need to not spend too much time doing this, because there is so much more email. And then finally, action. Because at the end of the day, just by prioritizing and sending our email, we're actually not moving the needle enough for our business. So the question is, what else do we need to do elsewhere in our workflow? So I'll take just a minute or two and go into some detail on what Gmail's been up to on each of these over the past year or so. And so we'll jump right in with prioritization. So for prioritization, over the past few years, you've seen Gmail take a couple bites at the apple at building intelligent inboxes. We have Priority Inbox that elevates the content that we believe to be the most important to the top of your inbox and pushes everything else down below the fold. We built Tabbed Inbox to help consumers segment their communication between primary communication for them, commercial communication and promotions, and social network communication. What I actually want to go into more detail on, though, is a feature that we brought to market with the new Gmail last year called nudging. One of the key challenges we've recognized around prioritization is that when you're asked to do so many things in email, or when you ask others to do so many things, it's really easy to drop the ball, to miss something. And so you now have Gmail looking out for you, watching over your shoulder, where if somebody sends you a message and asks you to complete a task, and you forget to respond, Gmail will nudge you and say, hey, you got this 3 days ago. And similarly, if you ask somebody else to do something and they haven't responded, we'll nudge you that you might want to send a follow-up. This is just one of the ways we've been trying to improve the prioritization workflow within Gmail. Second up is communication. So when you're trying to write the correct email or response, we recognize that this is an experience that takes a lot of effort, a lot of cognitive load. So about a year ago, we launched an experience called Smart Compose, where in Gmail, we actually predict the next phrase that you're going to write and let you add it to the message with just a single keystroke of a tab. And since launching this just on web and just in English, we've seen Smart Compose save users over 1 billion characters per week. And this is before just 2 weeks ago, we announced a couple of major improvements to Smart Compose. So first, we brought Smart Compose to 4 new languages: Spanish, French, Italian, and Portuguese. Second, we've brought it to mobile. It's now available on all Android devices, and it's coming soon to iOS. Third, we've extended Smart Compose to work in the email subject line. So if you're a user who writes the body of an email before you write the subject, it will now predict how you should fill that line. And then finally, because Smart Compose is attempting to help you jump ahead to where you were already going and what you were already writing, we have made Smart Compose personalized. So you can see in the GIF on screen that it predicts that your greeting should be "Hi JW" instead of spelling out Julie Wen, because it recognizes that that's how you've greeted Julie in the past. It also does this sort of thing with the type of phrasing that you use. So it's really personalized to your writing style. And then finally, action. So over the past couple years in Gmail, we've invested in a couple ways to help users take action in products outside of Gmail. So the first is with add-ons, where we let third parties build lightweight applications that run on the right rail of Gmail on web and also work on mobile. So you can now take action in your favorite CRM or project management tool without needing to take the cost of a context switch. 3 weeks ago, we added a new way to let users take action through an experience called dynamic email. So for a long time, since email first came to market, one of the known facts about email was that it was static. It got out of date as soon as you hit the send button. Dynamic mail turns this on its head. Specifically, large bulk senders can now actually refresh email content after they hit send. And users can actually take action in the body of the mail. So if you're looking at the example on screen, what you see is actually an email from Google Docs, a comment email. And you can see that the user can actually type the reply and send it, and also resolve the comment thread, all without leaving their email. And what's more, the thread is actually kept up to date, so you're sure that you're always actually acting on the latest. And this is just one more way we're helping users take action. So we've talked a little bit about how we're improving Gmail from a prioritization, communication, and action standpoint. But there's still a problem. And the problem is that email remains overwhelming. So depending on the study that you look at, email consumes over a quarter of the knowledge worker's average work week. Just think about that, over a quarter. That's a ton of time. And the reason for this is that email is fundamentally not the right tool for every job. You see, different communication tools have different strengths. When you think about the dimensions of communication in terms of what's asynchronous versus real time, whether it's formal versus casual, whether it's private versus shared, email tends to be the first of each of these three things. And in G Suite, we recognize this, and the reason we've built Hangouts Chat is it's designed to be much more real time, more casual, and more of a team-focused shared communication tool. And I want to just do a quick sidebar to take you back. So I actually pulled the screenshot that you see on screen out of the Internet Archives. And this is from over a decade ago, when we brought to market the first chat experience in Gmail. And what I want to highlight about this experience is it was very one-to-one focused. It was direct message focused. It was intended for short, fleeting conversations when you need to reach out to a colleague or a peer and have a quick conversation and then let it fall by the wayside. And this was great for a long time. But work has changed. Teams have changed. Work has become much more of a fast-paced team sport instead of an individual pursuit. These teams have become much more distributed, working across time zones, working time-shifted hours. And it's important for the software to keep up with the work style. And so that's why we're excited to announce that we're bringing Hangouts Chat into Gmail, starting with a beta program that you can sign up for today. And what I will do over just the next couple minutes is talk you through what this experience is going to look like and why we've built it this way. And then Matt will come on up and tell you a little bit more about why we think this is great for your users. So first, to orient you, what you're staring at on the big screen is the Gmail UI. And in the lower left-hand corner, you see the roster or world view. There are three key sections to this. So up top, we have people. Then we have rooms. And finally, we have bots. So in terms of the experience for interacting with people around direct messages, we're preserving the approach of direct messages being focused in these small tiled windows in the lower right-hand corner of the experience. And the reason we've taken this direction is that we've heard consistently from our users and customers that they love being able to multitask with their email while also having side conversations through chat. So we're keeping that part of the experience that you all know and love. But what we're really excited about is that we're bringing rooms into Gmail as well. And we're bringing these as immersive full-screen experiences. And the reason we're doing this is we've seen how teams work in these collaborative spaces. And we've seen that there are multiple parallel conversations happening at a time with integrations with other G Suite products or third-party products. And at the end of the day, we see people just need a lot of real estate to engage here. But you can also shrink these down for multitasking purposes. So before I close, I just want to quickly show you how this experience all comes together in Gmail. So as a user, you're navigating over to a room for Project Mammoth, still in Gmail. Amy is typing a response to pull in a bot to this conversation. She's able to actually insert a GIF and then move back to the flow of what she was doing previously in Gmail. So less context switching. And so with that, what I'd like to do is introduce my colleague, Matthew Leske, who's the product lead for chat, to come to the stage to talk a little bit about why this matters for customers. Matt?
Thanks, Tom. And thank you all for being here. It's great to be able to talk to you about chat and what we're building on here. I'm going to talk for the next half hour about 3 specific things. The first one is why we believe that bringing chat into Gmail is fundamentally going to transform the way you think about chat and communication within your enterprise. The second thing I'm going to talk about is how we're bringing value from G Suite into chat, which helps your organization work smarter and in different ways. And then the final thing I'll talk about is our integration or bot platform. But let's start by jumping here into what does it mean to take chat and bring it into Gmail, and why is that so fundamentally different to the way in which we think about chat today? And so over the past couple of years that I've been working on this specific chat product, I've worked on other chat products at Google as well, I've spoken to, I would say, a couple hundred customers, talked to them about how they use Hangouts Classic, how they're using chat since we launched back in February, and how they use other team collaboration or consumer chat products. And there's one thing which is unique, or which is common to every single one of those customers I talk to. And that is the fact that as soon as you talk about chat, the comments around email come into play. Because email is actually a great text communication tool for a type of communication in the organization. You can't talk about chat without email. And that's because if you think about it, there are roles in which formal communication does a fantastic job. Lawyers have formal communication. Sales teams also often need to reach out to a vast network of people who may be using different tools. Everybody's using email. Email does a great job for those people in the organization. On the other side, we can see this huge trend, both in consumer and enterprise, about adopting team collaboration products. And this is where a chat-centric product is what a lot of other people in organizations want to use. And there's no getting around this. There's different profiles of different types of users in every organization. By bringing chat into Gmail, we're bridging these 2 groups of users. And so the way we think about this is instantly, with chat in Gmail, your entire organization is on a common platform. If you think about this, you're not struggling with deployment of the product, trying to get everybody to use the same tool. And this really common thing we hear as we talk to people about chat as they're adopting it is some people, like the lawyers or the sales team, feel like they're missing messages or left out of the conversation. By having chat there in email, they will get notifications popping up in the tool that they use for their job every day. So this is a major thing. The second thing here is that it really doesn't stop there. Because this is supposed to be a picture here, don't worry. There's 1.5 billion people using Gmail today. That's a lot of people, right? All of these are potentially people who you can now address with chat, because there's a bridge between these 2. And you may be thinking, but I thought chat really was just within organizations. We've been wanting guest access for a long time. Luckily, along with bringing chat into Gmail, we're also bringing guest access to chat, available today also for you to sign up to. What this does is it means that you're not sending an invitation to somebody that they get through email. They go and click the invitation. They open a new tool. They create their new account to use the tool you're trying to chat with them in. Of these 1.5 billion people using Gmail, when you reach out and send them a message, they'll instantly get a pop-up saying, Matt wants to talk to you. You can click accept. That network connection is already there. It becomes a very fast and effective communication tool. So that's what we're doing with guest access in direct messages. We're also bringing guest access into rooms. And so when we think about this, rooms are this archive of content around a topic in your organization. They can go on, they have history which could last for years, but they're this place in which there's a wealth of information. And I know for Google as a fact, and probably for all of your organizations, the concept that someone in your organization might add an external person into one of those discussion rooms is really scary. That's how do you protect your organization? So what we've done here is to not say external people can join any room, but ahead of time when the room is created, users can determine, will we allow external people to join this room? And that room forever will be badged with this external badge. External people may be added to this. So all of the conversations that happen in there are with the mindset that people understand that external people may be added. So that's kind of the way we're solving this. And so there are two key points, right? There's a network effect here, and also the guest access piece, how you can bring in other organizations, which is why the value proposition for chat, by bringing it into Gmail, has suddenly changed dramatically. Now I'm going to jump over, that's chat in Gmail, and I'll take a bit of time here to talk about G Suite integrations. There are 6 specific integrations I'm going to talk to here, which are tools from G Suite coming into chat. And the first one is around Meet. So we've had some Meet integration with chat for a long time. We're investing more and more in this because it's really valuable to be able to take either a direct message discussion with somebody and jump on a call to have a live discussion, or a team discussion in a room and be able to jump into a discussion with those people. And we've all been in these scenarios where there'll be emails backwards and forwards or chat messages backwards and forwards. It's just way quicker to talk about this than sit there typing and working through things. So we've generated this nice, simple flow where you can easily upgrade any discussion to a video call and then jump back into chat. So that was the first integration. The second integration is with Google Voice. So earlier today in the keynote, we spoke about Google Voice now being available for all enterprises. You can go and sign up for Voice. If you've got Google Voice enabled, what it means is that anyone in your organization can also instantly make telephone calls directly from within chat. So you're in a direct message, rather than go and find that person's details, the contact details you already have through email or through your phone synced to your account, the phone numbers will show up there, one click, direct call these people. And with Google Voice now available for enterprise, that means that there's enterprise billing and everything else you would expect from an enterprise product. So it's not individual people paying for calls and that kind of thing. You manage this across your organization. So the fourth one, out-of-office notifications. So this is probably one of the most frustrating things that happen when you're trying to reach people when you're not sitting next to them, right? So you send someone a message, you're waiting for the response, you try again, you go and send an email, and then you get the out-of-office reply. It's like, why couldn't you tell me that ahead of time? System knows person is out of office. Tell me that before I write the message, before I send the email. So what we're doing here is we're using calendar information to pull in indications both in Gmail and chat. So you can see we're integrating these closer together. Same treatment here. You can see before you compose the message, before you send the chat message, this person is out of office, which then gives you options. You can go and connect with somebody else. You might choose to send the email anyway. And with the recently announced scheduled sending of emails, you can actually schedule the email to be sent at the right time. You've got lots of options here, so putting the control back in your users' hands and helping people work smarter. Integration number 4 is around fixing drive permissions. So if I'm sharing a file with someone, I kind of want them to be able to access it. What happens if you share a file and I don't have access? It's really frustrating. It's like, all right, don't have access, request access, wait for that to come back. You go in, you fix the access, you tell them, hey, give it another try again. It's like wasted time. What we do here is if you're sharing a file with somebody and the permissions don't match, we prompt you at that point. Do you want to give them access? And is a view or comment or edit access what you want to grant there? So that was number 4. Number 5. When I stood up here at Cloud last year, one of the common questions was like, why don't you have Team Drive integration with chat? So we've invested quite a bit in this to bring this team concept together. That you have team drives, you can have Google Groups for the list, you can also have your chat room around the team, and you can easily now attach files from your team drive into the chat room. And the final thing I'll talk to here is less of a G Suite integration, more of a Chrome integration. We're taking the move to replace the Electron app for Hangouts chat with a progressive web app, which is based on the Chrome PWA architecture. What this means is that we're expanding the footprint there from just Mac and Windows to include Linux and Chrome OS. And that comes with a number of advantages. The first one is around security. So progressive web apps are always based on your currently installed version of Chrome. Chrome is great at updating itself automatically. There's a huge team constantly looking for exploits and fixing them as quickly as possible. So it means it's not based on the binary version of the downloadable app. It's based on the version of Chrome that's installed. That's the first one. The second one around app updates themselves. So when you've got a normal executable or MSI which has been installed, you need to prompt the user to go and update, or you need to push new versions to the machine. What happens here is these are automatically updated. So whenever it's run, it uses the latest possible version. And the final piece here is, once again, it's not an executable. It's managed just like an extension. So through the Chrome store, you can deploy these apps now to anyone in your organization. You can choose how that's deployed. So 6 things I just walked through. Oh, yes, my mistake. Rollout plan for this. We're currently in alpha test mode. We're accepting signups later. At the end here, there'll be a link where you can go and sign up to test this. And in the second half of the year, we'll start turning down that old Electron app. So it's a direct replacement, full compatibility. Think of it like a new version, mostly. So finally, the integration platform. Before I jump into this, are you all familiar? Who's familiar with the bot platform on chat? Most people, kind of. OK, brief high-level overview. So the bot platform or the integration platform, how we now allow other applications to improve workflows inside of chat. So simple example, you have a sales team discussion room, discussing a potential customer. You can easily pull from Salesforce the contact info or the account info for that directly into the chat room and talk about it with that team. So it's a direct integration. Another like automation would be you can have a Twitter feed monitoring your company or your project name, have that live update so you can look at outages or issues or press things you need to jump onto. So it's bringing automation from other platforms into chat. There are 3 areas I'll walk through here which we're improving within chat. The first is the bot catalog. The bot catalog will be rolling out in the next couple of weeks. It's improvements here which does 2 things. First, it allows you as administrators to promote specific apps to your organization, so the recommended ones or the featured ones along the top. The second thing it does is it shows popular apps in your organization. So it's helping people understand what might other people be using. And the reason this is so important is it's fine to say, the GitHub bot is super popular generally, but if your company's not using GitHub, it's spammy, right? It doesn't add any value. You want to know what's popular in your own organization. So the bot catalog is first feature. Second thing is the growth of our bot catalog. We have a dedicated developer relations team constantly working with other companies to help build great integrations. This is continuously expanding. We're adding more and more bots over time. We're also actively looking at what are the requests we get from customers, from users today, and specifically going and approaching each of those. So where are the gaps? Where are the integrations people would like? So we can build ones that add value to all of you. And then the final thing here is around bot management. So some of you would just say, yeah, just like let anyone install a bot, all kind of cool, right? Other people are like, no, that doesn't make sense at all. I don't know who this crazy developer is who made this bot. So you can whitelist, you can test and whitelist which bots you want. And similarly with your internal developed bots, you can whitelist bots within your organization that developers might build to be used on your platform. So 3 things there. Recapping all of this that I've just been talking through. Tom spoke about chat and Gmail. Guest access comes along with part of that. The second thing is G Suite integrations. I talked through 6 things there, and I just talked about the bot platform. So the big updates here. And so to finalize here, what I wanted to talk a little bit about just for a few moments is this concept of what a lot of you are struggling with, the challenge between Hangouts Chat and Hangouts Classic. Right? We have these 2 products. They're both called Hangouts. They're kind of similar. People don't really know the difference. It's messy. It's messy for a lot of your organizations. We realize that. We've put a lot of effort into helping understand the best way to transition your organization quickly. Because the best experience we can deliver for all of you is to, as quickly as possible, get you onto chat and off of the old Hangouts Classic world. Which is why we're announcing the Accelerated Transition Program. What this is, it's a collection of 4 things. It's access to chat and Gmail, which we spoke about. It's access to guest access, and the new progressive web app, so the new app. Bundled them together along with a set of information to help you understand the process to roll this out. So deployment guides, instructional videos for your users, instructional videos for you all as admins, information on when you should communicate, draft emails, like a full set of information to help you migrate across, as well as understanding the impact of how that works. So, thank you.